We're live. It's alive.
Live from New York.
Oh, let me share.
I just got buzzed.
Sure.
Oh, hey, I gotta go out and watch it. The radio show is live now.
Every time I do this, though, I never get good enough service that I can actually.
Are you on the Wi-Fi?
Yeah. I'm not on the Wi-Fi.
You need to be on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's what
Did
you're
you put
dealing with.
a
AT&T reception.
Did you put
If
a
you
thing out
have
there
it,
with-
sucks in here.
To share through from here.
With
'cause
Lauren?
It shows it live, but then
Yeah, you gotta do the little click down. Yeah. Here.
I just want to share it through my personal page. What's up, everybody on Facebook? Hello.
Hey, Facebook people that aren't there yet.
Except for us. Look, we're allowed to talk to ourselves.
I talk to myself all the time.
Are you questioning your own reality?
Constantly.
We watched the final episode of.
Oh, Westworld.
Oh my gosh, that show's really.
That show's ridiculous.
Hey, Ben.
Is Ben tuned in?
No, Ben Forrester, different Ben.
Like, really?
Hi, Ben.
He's awake right now?
He's right.
Night owl.
He's an intern at my work.
So how did you do that? Oh, now
I
she's
literally just
frozen.
hit share, and then see how it says your name. Just make sure your name's at the top whenever you do it.
If I need to share it too.
Yes, please. Everybody needs to chat.
Everybody needs to share.
With my old friends.
Yeah.
Share it with old friends.
Look, all friends need love. in
Yeah,
this world.
old friends, new friends.
Age is just
Here,
a
how do I
number.
do that?
Red friends, blue friends.
I need wrinkled
Hopefully
Facebook.
none of them listen back and hear what you just said about him.
Oh,
Although it may be a factual statement.
Yeah.
You have a lot of young friends, actually.
You're actually
You have a very young energy, I have to say.
I know. I'm trying to cure that, actually.
Wait, cure what? I'm excited for this.
Okay, there you go.
Joe Outlaw's watching.
Joe Outlaw,
There you
baby!
go.
Woo!
There you are. You're all good.
Where's Ben Mudge? How come he's not watching?
He's asleep.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he probably
He'll
is.
come in.
It's, what time is it there? It's like 11.
Topics and
now.
opinions expressed in the
Oh my
following show
gosh.
are solely
Here we
those
go. Oxygenate the brain. I gotta grab myself
I'm
up.
gonna pass out.
Birthing.
I mean, I haven't my tea elixir yet. No.
Eckhart Tolle. Ooh, nice.
We should do like a.
I'm going the wrong way.
Right?
Good evening and welcome to the Epic Love Radio Show. My name is Travis Soot, and we are flying through time and space here in the Epic Love Studios with the one and only Cup of Joe, Mr. Joe Mitchell on the left, everybody.
Good evening, everybody.
And the one and only Miss Blair McKnight on the right.
Hello.
And in studio, our co-producer, Mr. David Allen.
Hey!
All right, welcome everybody to another show, and here we are sharing inspiring stories of love through action and inspiring people. And I have to say, I just want to acknowledge all those around me right now in this room. You all are inspiring just by yourselves here. Your presence,
Thanks, Travis.
your
Thank
presence,
you.
your presence is our present. And Chad,
Thanks.
our sound engineer.
Yes.
That means a lot, Travis. Thank you.
No problem. Anytime. And to all of those on Facebook, give them a wave. Facebook, how are you? The virtual world out there portaling through to this epic love energy we are sharing. So excited for today's show. We have an awesome guest coming up, Miss Lauren Wertepny, who is a great friend, over a decade, lifelong friend, and we're excited to share her stories from the recent Epic Crossing for a Cure adventure and talk a little bit about the awesomeness that her company and what she brings into the world. So super excited. She'll be calling in from Colorado.
She is awesome. You're right.
She is super awesome. And a shout out to our missing co-host in action, Liz Merson. Hey, she's
Where's
on.
Liz?
Where is Liz? Where is Liz? She's on a plane right now, headed to California for the IDEA conference. It's a fitness conference.
Oh,
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. She'll be out there for a week. So I'll be getting a lot of work done.
Right.
Yeah. And want to give a heartfelt shout out to Miss Gabby Shane, one of our CF Warriors.
She's awesome too.
She's in the hospital right now, and just want to send some love out to you, Gabby. We know you're facing a tough challenge here, but we're all here for you, and you're going to get through it. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to the one and only Cup of Joe.
Thanks, Travis. Yeah. So this week on the Cup of Joe, I want to actually talk about something that actually happened to me post-crossing. And I was told about it, and I thought I was ready for it, but I was nowhere near ready for it. And so basically it was, you're riding this emotional roller coaster for so long, going to committee meetings, training for the paddle, riding the waves is a better, way to explain that than riding the roller coaster, but either works. So it was the after event bottom out of emotion, because you were flying so high for so long, and then you were anticipating it, and then you were ready, and you were there, and you're sitting on the beach, and you're freaking out, and you're ready to go, and your adrenaline's pumping, and just everything's in your head all at once, and then you get into the water, and everything sort of dissolves around you, and then you get out into the water, and you just start looking up into the night sky and realizing there's no light pollution whatsoever, so you can actually see all of the stars.
Beautiful.
And the entire band of the Milky Way. That was definitely the first time I'd ever seen that. And that was a very special moment that I'll hold with me until the next crossing, and I get to see it again.
It's an almond Milky Way. It's almond.
Yes. Almond
Oh,
Milky
is
Way.
it? Oh, really?
Yeah. Gotta go with the non-dairy stuff. So, yeah, I was told about, listen, you're going to have, a couple of days of pink cloud after it. You're going to talk to people and everything like that. But then after that, you're going to have this emotional bottom out, because all of this stuff that you were doing and building and community and family just kind of, through no fault of anybody's, it just kind of dissolves a little bit, because everybody tries to get back to their normal life. And also a lot of people were actually just physically recovering from the paddle. I talked to several people that were like, yeah, man, it took me 6-7 good days of just rest to physically get back to normal. And that's not even talking about the emotional stuff on top of that, which probably prolongs that effect, honestly. Luckily, the way that I was actually able to get out of that was somebody from the crossing reached out to me, and I gotta give a big shout out to Brian Pendis, big BP.
BP love.
We love
Big
you.
BP love.
The BP hug.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's
BP
a
hug.
special hug right there. He's a real good hugger. And so he reached out to me on Saturday, and I was talking to him about it. And he was having some of the same similar after event effects. And he made me realize is the way that you combat that is you don't shelter yourself. You don't crawl back into your shell like I had. You need to reach out to the people that you were just involved with, because they're probably feeling the same way, and they need somebody to reach out to them, and you need to do that, and they need to reach out to everybody, and it's the community coming back together. And so I talked to him, and then I immediately reached out to Brett, one of the other CF Warriors that did the event, and we hooked up and talked together, and Jess was there. She was another Crossing Crusader. And then I met with Sean today, and now I'm back with you guys, and I feel awesome again. It was 2 days of kind of meh, life's kind of yeah, all right. But now I'm back. I'm back. And so there's several things that after an event like that you can do. Reaching out was definitely the biggest one for me, but also being very cognizant of actually your nutrition as well, because when you're tired and you don't feel great, that kind of goes across the kind of flies out the window. Practicing mindfulness and meditation to really realize why am I feeling this way, and then exercise. I took a couple of days off from exercising, and I hadn't done that in a long time, and I finally got back into it today, and I'm not joking, this was the best that I've felt after exercising in a long time, because it felt like my body was just like craving the dopamine that you get after exercising, and it was there again because I had exercised. So there's a lot to be said about after event, how to deal with yourself after an event. And
life events.
Because it's not just this was a life event, but there's so many other life events, whether they're a great one like a birthday party or something like that, or something more tragic that happens in life.
Circumcision.
Yeah.
Early on. I know it's tragic. It happens.
I'll never forget it.
He's still getting over it.
It's a lifelong. Yeah.
Shed a tear.
Yeah, so it was, and one other thing that I like to do is there's a lot of, I'm huge into music and love going and seeing music and everything like that. And there's definitely a few songs that I can turn to and listen to. And actually, I was listening to one of them on the way here. It's by Memphis May Fire. It's called "That's Just Life," and it really makes you understand that things happen in life, but you can't let them affect you as much as they do sometimes, because those are the things that are happening to you, but you can do things to them as well to make it easier on yourself, and not getting stuck in that vicious circle of like, why is this happening to me? This keeps happening to me. Breaking free of that, it's very difficult to do, but once you're able to learn how to do it, it is like the most empowering feeling ever, because then your circumstances do not dictate how your life is going to go. You're able to pull yourself out of it again.
Yeah.
So, and I heard a bunch of people were saying the same thing, that they were feeling exactly the same way. And, probably when we talk to Lauren in a little while, we'll definitely ask her and see how she's been doing.
Yeah. I noticed a big difference. I'm glad you really brought this up because, from last year to this year, I've always noticed it after big events. But last year we kind of came down and we had such a huge successful run with the crossing, and we kind of came down, but we really didn't have that same fabric with the committee, fabric of the community.
No.
And so I feel like this year it's a little more like a trampoline. Last year we came down and there was no bouncing back. It took a long rebuilding period to get back to where we kicked things off again and started back up. But I feel like this year it's very different. And I think it just has a lot to do with the fabric of reality that we're all weaving together. Epic love, which is cool. You're starting to see people hashtagging it and it coming out in conversation, and just the overall consciousness of the community here and everybody involved with the Crossing Pipers Angels and beyond. And it's really cool. And it's starting to grow far and wide, which is pretty amazing.
It's awesome to see it grow.
You're not just back, you're back in black.
Back in black. So this is actually,
Like
I did a post on Instagram the other day, and this is actually a t-shirt that my friend Michaela, who has CF up in Vermont, this is the shirt that she submitted my name to get put on the back of it. So my name is actually on the back of this shirt.
Nice.
And it's got the purple ribbon with that's the symbol for CF, and I forget exactly what it says on there, but if you want to read it.
Yeah, sweet. We should take a picture of that, post it.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Michaela. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, good stuff, Joe. That was awesome.
Thank you for my cup of Joe.
Oh, you're very, very
You have so
welcome.
much to look forward to.
I do.
Happy to be here with you.
Thanks. Happy to be here too. So, where's Blair been?
I've been everywhere, but I gotta tell you guys a story about what I'm about to share. So I have a love letter from a fan of ours, and coolest thing. So she actually works with me. She's been watching from the beginning. Her name is Michelle Ehrlich. I'm sure you guys have seen her on Facebook Live and commenting on some stuff.
We love you, Michelle.
Michelle.
She's awesome, and she moved here from another state down to Florida like I did, and she every Tuesday when I came into work after the show, she'd be like, "God, you guys are awesome. I just love what you guys are doing, and I feel like I really know you guys. Like we're friends. Like when I tune in on Mondays, it's like I'm calling to or when I'm tuning in to hang out with my friends, and So finally last week, I said to her, I said, Michelle, we're really trying to get some fans to be comfortable with writing some love letters into us. Would you write a love letter? And so I can read it on the next show. And you've been listening so much. And she's like, oh yeah, totally. I mean, she was not at her desk for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden she's popping back in my office, and she's handing this to me. And I'm like, I'm like, is this it? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right.
Boom.
I'm faster than Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
There she was with this love letter. And I'm like, this must have all been bubbling on the surface. She's like, yeah, it was. So anyways, I have this great handwritten love letter from her. I'm going to share with you guys. Here it goes from Michelle Ehrlich. Thank you, Michelle. It's Dear Epic Love. I just wanted to let you all know I have been watching you since day one. Your show has opened my eyes that there are still good people out there that care about others and are willing to help them in any way they can. I moved here 5 years ago, and it really was a shock change for me. People here are rude, snobs, don't talk, and were just downers to me. I came from a town where neighbors got along, and you help one another out whenever you can. Watching you all and the amazing things you have done gave me hope again that there is good out there and here in Florida. Though I have never met any of you, seeing you all come in on paddleboards that Saturday, she was at the beach landing, made me feel at home and that you all are like family to me. It actually brought tears of joy to see a community come together for a great cause. You all are amazing individuals, and thank you for bringing my hope back that there is still love out there. Thank you, Blair, for sharing epic love with me. You all are amazing people.
Very nice.
Aw.
Nice
Cool.
one.
Wasn't that
Thanks.
so sweet? So thank you again, Michelle. It meant a lot to me, and just, to get your feedback every week and have you be such a strong supporter of the show. I mean, it's really what we're trying to do here is to make people realize, it's not all negative out there, as the media would make you believe. Right? We're trying to show people that there is good still out there. So thank you so much.
Well, I would like to cheers to her love letter
Yeah.
Definitely.
with a
Cheers
little
to that.
tea elixir, putting some good back in your body.
Yeah.
The door's wide open.
Come on down anytime. Just like neighbors in a small town.
Exactly right.
Don't even have to knock. Just walk right in.
Come on in.
Right.
Well, I really love that, Blair. And I read something recently, and I'm excited to share this idea with you. Maybe we'll kick it off here in the next month or so. But I really want to start an Epic Love book challenge where we all read a book each month and maybe get some feedback each show, kind of how the book's coming along, little excerpts. And then we can invite in authors who are writing these books that are contributing towards more inspiring and positive stuff in the world. And recently I was reading a little excerpt from this book by Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. And this book is absolutely incredible. He's also the author of The Power of Now. And interestingly enough, right, how Michelle's pointing out kind of this collective. And in the book, he covers a lot as far as ego and illness. And in this one section on the collective ego, I'll just read this small excerpt here. He says, as the new consciousness emerges, some people will feel called upon to form groups that reflect the enlightened consciousness. These groups will not be collective egos. The individuals who make up these groups will have no need to define their identity through them. They no longer look to any form to define who they are. Even if the members that make up those groups are not totally free of ego yet, there will be enough awareness in them to recognize the ego in themselves or in others as soon as it appears. However, constant alertness is required since the ego will try to take over and reassert itself in any way it can. Dissolving the human ego by bringing it into the light of awareness, this will be one of the main purposes of these groups. Whether they be enlightened businesses, charitable organizations, schools, or communities of people living together, enlightened collectives will fulfill an important function in the new arising of the new consciousness. Just as the egoic collectives pull you into unconsciousness and suffering, the enlightened collective can be a vortex for consciousness that will accelerate the planetary shift. Boom.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 2 paragraphs in this book. The whole book is like that.
Committee members.
Like amazing. And when I read it, I went, it's it. That's this whole vibe and vortex of energy and feeling and community and love. And it's just like, and when you have it, right, and that little disconnect, you come down off that wave and it's like you're paddling back out by yourself. But once you get back out into the lineup, you're like, oh, here we are again. We're riding waves together,
Exactly.
So.
Yes, that's amazing. That's exactly, what we're trying to do here. That's exactly what I felt. I mean, I didn't even partake in the paddle, and I was kind of late to the game here. And I mean, just the sense of community with everybody there and all the good people coming together is just warmed my heart, and it's made me, kind of take down my walls a little bit.
The
And
ego thing. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah,
right. I mean, it really
Mine's
has.
huge, and I mean, it just.
There's barely enough room in this room.
Yeah. It's getting a little cramped in here, Dan. Can you deflate a little bit, please?
I've worked on that for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have a very special guest on the line, Miss Lauren Wertepny from Colorado, originally from Florida here, a Florida girl by heart and nature, but out in the Colorado scene. She's on the line with us. Welcome, Lauren.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh,
How are you?
I'm having an awesome day. It's been a magical day. And I can't talk about exactly why it's magical, but there's a lot of magical things about every day, but today is a particularly magical
Oh,
day.
wow.
Wait, well, you're going to hold back the magicalness from us?
Can't yet. It's so magical that all the possibilities and things are coming together on the same day, but it's still not totally inked yet.
Hi, Lauren. This is Blair. I feel like you're about to explode on the other end. all the magic is about to
I
explode
mean, I
everywhere.
am. I've been about to explode for the last 48 hours, and I just can't, and it's hard.
Well, maybe you'll have to call in next week. You'll leave us. It's a cliffhanger.
That's a good.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's a Colorado cliffhanger.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, for the big magical news. Well, awesome. Well, I just first of all wanted to say thank you. So everybody who's listening and watching out there on Facebook, Lauren and I go back all the way to UCF in Orlando, going to school together at university. And Lauren is primarily the reason I was able to graduate college. She was a great mentor and coach through some hard times
You wrote
in
her
some
shirt
classes.
She is
Yeah.
magical then.
Like quantitative business tools too. Yeah, it was a team effort. Let's just say that. We had some really awesome experiences together. Some of the events and adventures we went on, and so happy that we've had such a long, mutually beneficial relationship and friendship. And she's also the reason why Power Design, which is an electrical engineering firm based out of St. Pete in the Tampa area, has been one of the lead sponsors for the Crossing for a Cure since the origin in 2013. So thank you, Lauren, very much for the support all these years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's also gotten a chance to watch Piper grow up and really see her blossom, and it's pretty awesome. So Lauren, what is it with Power Design? I know that you've talked a little bit about it before, but explain so people understand how this support for the community and the V5 program came about and what it is.
Well, I don't know exactly when the whole V5 program started. I know it's been around ever since I've worked at Power Design since 2012. But I love it because it's the only initiative that I've ever come across in a company where it's completely employee-directed contributions to the community. So in other words, the way the program works is we sell scrap materials from all of our job sites because we're a substantial national electrical contractor with business all over the country. So we'll sell our scrap materials and use that money exclusively for community projects, charity organizations. But the key is that the donations have to be solicited by employees, meaning we have to submit forms to say these are the charities and the causes and the communities that are special to us, and this is where we want that money to go. And if not for employees submitting those forms, none of it would go anywhere. So it really is a completely 100% employee-directed initiative created by the company. So very, very unique. I'm so thankful to have it at my disposal. I've personally told the one of the owners of the company, former CFO, that I much prefer that to a bonus. To be able to say, to give something substantial to a cause that matters so much to me, without having to, necessarily fork it out of my own pocket, which isn't always possible for people, is an amazing gift. So that's the program, and I'm so blessed to be a part of it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they really do it. I mean, and it's
So
it's amazing too because it's not like they use it as a driver for their own marketing in a way. You know, they're not turning around and asking for a lot. Really, they're happy to help and contributing to these causes, and it's really cool to see. I know I've seen some of the other photos on like in the Power Design social media and stuff, but the photos of the teams rallying together for different events. It's such a cool way to activate people in the community, and it was cool to have you involved this year with the crossing, Lauren.
Yeah.
You came all the way from Colorado,
Best year.
all the way to Bimini.
Yeah.
How was that?
Best year. I mean, I almost didn't make it, right? I was supposed to be on a plane, and somehow that didn't happen. So, the world was trying to throw hurdles in my way, and luckily there was room on the boats, and I was able to make it across after all.
Man, so how was the journey?
Oh man, gosh, it was just a completely incredible experience. I expected no less, but honestly, I couldn't have expected as much as I got. I mean, right from, when I got on the top dog to go across to Bimini, what an amazing group of people I was with. Ben, Julie, Heidi, Jake, Travis. I'm forgetting someone.
Who was the captain of that boat?
Jake
Griffith.
Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Jake.
Yeah.
Lori
Travis
was
and
on
the
the
other
boat
Travis.
too.
Yeah. Jake is the son of the Queen of the Crossing, Lori Griffith,
yeah.
photographer, Chasing a Dream
Yeah.
Foundation.
So what an incredible boat! Right from the start, we got off the coastline and just started. We'd stop, fish a little, swim a little. Just take in the ocean, and at some point we realized we probably need to hurry up and get there. But it was just an amazing experience from the start, and a pleasure to get to know everybody. And then to get there, I also teamed up with 3 people as roommates that I'd never met before, and Julie, Cindy, Donna, all solo paddlers. So, I bow down to them. But
Lauren,
what an incredible.
Lauren, tell them about the draw for your going out first. How that happened. That was a funny story.
Yeah, so I think we were sitting at the safety meeting, and I had only just met Jamie, who was one of the paddlers on my team, a couple hours beforehand. And there was some chatter about who was going to go first in the middle of the night, and I've only paddled a handful of times in my life, to be honest. Jamie's a very experienced paddler, and so he saw the going first as a privilege, and I saw it as a fear. And so we played rock, paper, scissors to figure out, we played rock, paper, scissors, but I thought I was playing for the right to not go first. I thought I was playing for the right to go first. So I won, and I celebrated, and then he said, okay, so you're going first.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
So, but that was a magical experience in and of itself. I loved paddling at night.
Yeah, I love the team name you guys had, which was Team Heart Power, right?
Yeah.
It was a really cool kind of twist on the Power Design logo with the lightning bolt, and then but with a heart. It was really, really cool. Which is kind of interesting because.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say it's interesting because I don't know if you've seen that drone shot by Talia of the paddle out ceremony, but it was kind of like your logo for your team for the event.
With the heart.
Yeah.
The heart.
Yeah, that's cool.
And, I'm the point in the heart at the top.
Really?
Oh, really?
Wow.
Like where it bends in, and it kind of
where it
comes.
comes in, the pink tip of paper.
Yeah, there's like that perfect little point. Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
The current had moved us into that shape, and you were like pulled closer to the center.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The vortex of love, Lauren.
The vortex. Yeah.
You're bringing it. Well, I know that. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Well, it was an awesome experience, I know, for everybody, but I was hustling around. It was kind of a weird thing for me because I have so many close relationships with people there, but in that zone of the event and the production of it all and hustling around, it's like I see people and I make eye contact and we got to keep moving, and so I never really I didn't feel like I even got really a chance to sit down with you and spend a minute with you to just enjoy that whole experience, but just being a part of it and what was making it all happen. And so I kind of got to miss that element of it. But I remember seeing you as I was running around. I was like, it's so weird. Lauren's here.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like she's in the Bahamas right now. We're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think my time there was meant to be spent with everybody else. I mean, what a unique and special group of people. You know, I got to help prepare all the roses with my roommates because Julie was one of them. And that was really fun and unique. And just hearing everyone's stories, how they came to be there, how they came to come together. And that's what I was meant to be doing while I was there. So it was good that we didn't see each other more.
Yeah.
Mother was sweet too. I talked to her before the launch party. I was talking to her. And where does she live? St. Pete, your mother?
St. Petersburg,
Yeah.
yeah.
Her mom's awesome.
Yeah, she is. Very sweet lady.
Yeah.
She is actually in Nice, France right now.
Oh,
she is
wow.
doing, ever since she retired, she's been taking French because I guess as a retiree, you get free classes at the state schools. So she is doing a study abroad in France.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Good for
That's
her.
awesome. So how is
Cooler than me.
yeah. How is the rest of the paddle for the team as you guys came across?
You know, it was kind of uneventful. Like in terms of, there weren't really any major challenges other than the obvious physical ones. It was just a beautiful experience. Like we, just before dark, I will confess that we started playing just before light, we started playing a little music. I think music really got us through the whole day.
Yeah.
I think Heidi said it, we must have set some records for the amount of dancing on the boat. And dancing. I mean, we just tried to cheer every boat up that we went by and tried to keep ourselves cheery and saw tons of shooting stars. It was, I have to give it to Jamie and even to Travis and Jake. They paddled a little bit for us. Well, kind of a lot.
It's a team effort.
That's right.
Yeah, so it took every single physical body on that boat to get us across.
Did
But,
you end up being
it was-
happy that you went first?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I had so much adrenaline on that beach.
I remember watching
Jamie
that.
actually was.
Watching her launch. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd want to go first
Jamie-
too. Like you said, that adrenaline, I'd want to get out there and, have that still going.
Yeah, Jamie was watching me. He was like, "You look like you're gonna throw up." I'm like, "Yep, I was." So it's a good thing I got on the board first and just got that out.
Rip that Band-Aid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little
exactly.
nerve-wracking experience standing on that beach, and just this year it was so much more dramatic. Sean did such a good job with with the timing of the waves of paddlers leaving the beach, and then the music,
Circling
and then the boats are
Yeah.
circling, and then all of a sudden they line up right in front of you, and you're like, oh
It was
man,
a
it's
whole
go
production.
time.
It was a whole production.
And the music
Very well
cranks
done.
up.
No.
Oh
It
man,
was good.
that was awesome.
Flag
How about
is
you,
right.
Travis? I heard you saw some squid and something else.
Yeah, we had a really wild experience. We were maybe 10 minutes off the send off from Bimini, and we heard some noises around us, and it was splashing, and we heard and we realized right away it was porpoise dolphins, and they were feeding underneath us. They were chasing squid, and it took us a while to realize what they were doing. We thought they were just playing, but in that crystal clear blue Bahamian water with the boat and the captain we had, their boat had a light underneath it, and so you could see everything perfectly. And the water was so clear and still.
Oh, that water there.
I mean, it was
Incredible.
literally like Lake Atlantic when we left Bimini. It was flat, calm, and glassy, not a breath of wind, and under 1 billion stars, no moon, so you could see the Milky Way, like Joe was saying earlier. And so having those dolphins just playing underneath us and chasing squid and they did it for like an hour. And what's interesting is the first year we did the crossing, we had dolphins visit us right at sunset. And so last year, I didn't see any porpoises or dolphins coming across El Mahi. But this year, again, the dolphins came. And it was really a cool experience. So.
Yeah.
So then you got back to the beach and everything was safe and sound, huh?
Yeah, and I don't know why I didn't expect the beach to be an emotional experience, but man, was that overwhelming.
Yes.
Just coming up on the beach and seeing all those people and feeling just everything that it took for us all to make. My hat's off to all the solo paddlers. I can't even imagine. I mean, I was exhausted by like 40 miles and I had not even paddled that far. So I can't even imagine doing another, 35, 40 miles.
Yeah.
But super emotional experience hitting the beach.
Yeah, and your mom was there. That was cool.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember coming up to you and like just grabbing you, and I just couldn't even say anything. Because you've been such an impetus for all this. The seeds that were planted and the growth of all this. And if it wasn't for you and Power Design that first year, the first crossing wouldn't even happen. It wasn't. Wouldn't have been possible. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you give me way too much credit to see what this has turned into, and I think it was Joe. His words at the rose ceremony were just perfect. He put it perfectly as far as what you put together. It's the most inspirational thing that a lot of us will probably ever be a part of. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how's Colorado treating you?
Awesome. I can't tell you my secret. I went rock climbing today. That's my new passion and what keeps me somewhat in shape. So that was nice.
Lauren, you're from Florida though, right?
What's that?
Are you from Florida though, right?
Oh yeah, I was born and raised in St. Pete. We've only been here for 3 years.
Okay, so what's it like being from Florida and living in Colorado now? Different, obviously.
It's different, but I guess Denver's kind of like winter light. It typically snows and then melts in a couple of days and snows and melts. So it's not really like full on like Minnesota winter. And I think that makes it completely tolerable. It also helps that I love to ski and we're getting into backcountry skiing. So, I enjoy the snow. I enjoy it. It's fun.
It's kind of funny how your journey is away from Florida because I'm originally from Vermont and I moved to Florida about 4 years ago. And, there's a lot of parallels between Colorado and Vermont, environment-wise, just lifestyle-wise, a lot of the same stuff that you're talking about, rock climbing, skiing, snowboarding, all of the outdoorsy stuff that I used to love to do as a kid, but, because of having CF and not being able to do it anymore, and then moving to this part of the country and being able to do all of the water activities that I'm now able to do, it is, just you find the place that you need to be when you need to be there. I really think.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find your
That's
happy.
like the motto. That's a good motto for today, for my day. You find the place to be when you're supposed to be there.
And it's magical.
Perfect.
And it's magical.
Yeah.
Super magical.
It's magic.
Yeah.
But you can't tell us.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
super secret magical
So-
moments.
But instead of telling you my magical thing, you did ask if I had any epic love kind of stories, and it's a short one, but I do have something that I can share.
Yeah.
Great.
Love to
I
hear.
think you know that, Travis, I went on a yoga retreat last year with my mom.
Yeah.
And it was in Sedona, which is already a very magical place. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been.
I've never been.
No.
I'd like to go.
Okay. I highly recommend it.
Epic love retreat.
Very,
Perfect.
yeah. It's an energy-filled place, so it's got all sorts of stuff going on. But anyway, so we went to this yoga retreat, and other than my mom, I had never met any of the other people there. And we went on a hike one day that was, stunning in the desert of Sedona. And I'm telling this story to this woman I've never met or just met on this trip about how my grandmother and great-grandmother tend to materialize in the form of hummingbirds in my life. There's been many an occasion where a hummingbird has come upon me in a very random place, and I can only explain it by that because they used to love hummingbirds and had hundreds around their homes in Maryland. And so I'm on this hike with this girl, and I'm telling her this story, and literally mid-sentence, as I'm saying, yeah, this, hummingbirds, they just show up. It's my grandmother. She hangs out with me and keeps an eye on me. A hummingbird flies right by us.
Wow.
And both of us got goosebumps and stopped, and I just instantly started crying, and just completely inexplicable coincidence or not. So I don't know. That's my story of epic love.
I completely relate to you, Lauren, because I lost my mother and I see butterflies at the most random time. It'll be like when I'm outside just trying to clear my head and really get myself out of whatever funk I'm in, whether I'm angry, whatever, and all of a sudden a butterfly. Well, and I mean, it's not like they're in the distance. I mean, they are like right by my face, like fly in front of me. And they kind of hang around me for a minute, even if I'm walking or whatever, it'll follow me. And so I get it.
Well, Montana is another really special place to me. And one of the more memorable times I had it happen, I was sitting on the porch and a hummingbird came and just sat right in front of my face for a solid 3 seconds and then went on its merry way. So I can, absolutely relate to that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, hummingbirds and butterflies are just like amazing
My
creatures.
I love hummingbirds.
I hope and pray that my mom is a butterfly. As I'm sure you do hope that they are a hummingbird, because what a cool thing to come back as.
Oh gosh, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, seriously, it's just nothing else can explain that.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Yeah.
Birds of all types are pretty awesome. Owls. Yeah.
Well, that's a great epic love story. Thank you for sharing, Lauren.
Yeah, that's it's interesting how things manifest and in all kinds of ways, and you only. And shout out to Lauren's hubby, Mr. Ed, out there in Colorado as well.
Don't call Mr. Ben.
Oh, yeah. All right.
That's a horse.
Whoops. He's strong like a horse.
big guy.
But yeah, Ed is an awesome guy. I miss him. We had a chance to go out to Colorado and visit Lauren, and it was Piper's first time snowboarding in January. And
Is that when you proposed?
That was Lauren was a big part of the secret magical proposal.
Let's hear that story.
Oh man, it was an awesome trip. Obviously, months in the workings, and I talked to Lauren and kind of said, okay, well, we're coming out. It's perfect. Piper's on break. I want Piper to be there. This is a big part of this new avenue in life with Liz, and so we had planned to go to Winter Park to go snowboarding. Piper's first time snowboarding, first time up in the mountain. And so we were kind of scouting out different areas. And it's interesting because the spot that we had picked, well, you weren't allowed, we didn't know this ahead of time, but you weren't allowed to just ride the lift up. You had to have a pass, and you had to be snowboarding or skiing. We had passes. We had been snowboarding for 2 or 3 days at this point, but they wouldn't let us up. And I'm standing at the window with Piper and Liz behind me. And Lauren and her husband and the rest of the crew are waiting at the spot. They're up on the mountain.
No.
And I'm standing at the window, and the lady's like, I'm sorry, sir, you can, only employees are allowed to go up without, their pass, and if you're not skiing or whatever. And I'm standing there, and I'm like starting to feel like, I'm losing the blood in my face and going flush. And then finally I was like, hey, Liz, can you, and I pointed about something with Piper, to distract her.
Yeah.
And I turned to the lady, and I had the ring in my jacket, and I pulled it out, and I was like, look, not only is today my birthday, but I'm about to propose. I need to get to that spot.
Give me the slip.
And she was like, oh, let me talk to my manager. And she turned around and grabbed her man. They actually gave us employee passes. And we were able to make it to the top. And so to have Lauren there, it was a really special occasion, and right there on the top at Lunch Rock in Winter Park, Colorado.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was funny too because I dropped.
Cool place.
Yeah.
Winter Park is neat,
No, it's beautiful, and there's so many trees. It's just a spectacular area to snowboard or ski.
Yeah,
but I dropped down to one knee, and Liz was like, "Hey, what are you doing?
Get back up.
Get back up. What are you doing?" And Piper was standing there. Piper handed me the ring, and it was really a special moment. So
That's awesome.
glad I got to share it with you, Lauren.
Oh, that was so cool that we could be there. I felt like we were kind of imposters in a moment, but I mean, thank you so much for sharing it with us. It was really cool to be a part of that. So
hopefully we'll get out there soon again. We'll go adventuring. Yeah.
Yes.
We need some
There'll
epic
be
love
lots more
adventures.
adventuring to be had.
Yeah, for sure, and in Montana too. I know.
On location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Epic love show.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys have been through a lot together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You have no idea some of the stories. Some that cannot be told on air,
Yes.
and or with little kids around. But many adventures, and so cool to have a friend like that in life. You can always count on.
Yeah, and love knows no distance. It really doesn't. I mean, you guys have been through so much, and you guys live across the country away from each other. That's amazing.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, and my favorite part about that trip you guys took was actually the drive up to Winter Park after I picked Travis and Liz up from the airport, and Liz is sitting in the passenger seat. We're driving out there, and we start talking, and I'm like, I love Montana. She goes, I love Montana. And then it was like, this and that and the other. And we had so much in common, and I was like, all right, I think Travis picked a good one.
Yeah.
But just saying.
Score.
You guys are just like me.
Yeah. It was a good vibe we all had together for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Well, awesome.
Great
Well,
job. What's she doing today? She can't be on the show?
she just got on the plane to fly to California for a fitness convention and conference called IDEA. It's in San Diego. So her company, Town Sports International, Palm Beach Sports Club, thank you for sponsoring the Crossing for a Cure. Hey, check it out. We got an awesome Palm Beach Sports Club shirt. So they made some acquisitions out there with total women's gyms. And so she's going out there to check those out and help out with their California scene and go to that conference.
Wow, how cool.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you very much, Lauren, for calling into the show and sharing all of your epic love and your journeys and adventures.
And spreadsheet.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for
And
having
spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks for the spreadsheet, too.
I love that spreadsheet.
Yeah, we got some work to do on the financial systems of Piper's Angels.
That thing is awesome.
Yeah, we're going to get to
There's
it.
plenty more where that came from. So
Yeah.
anything you guys need.
Awesome. Well, thank you to Power Design and for all the support through Lauren and with Lauren. Yeah, it's been a heck of a show today. And thank you again for calling in. And we'll look forward to you sharing your magicalness with us next time.
Yes.
All right, sounds awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Adios.
Lauren, bye.
Adios.
I like the story about the birds, hummingbirds.
Yeah.
I do too.
You know why
I
they
do
hum?
too. Oh, okay.
Why?
Dad joke.
They don't know
time.
the words.
Oh, that was a dad joke right there. That was a dad joke.
That was a bad joke.
Man, that was a good one, though.
We need to give this
It
man
was
give this man a segment.
one,
Dad,
one,
dad
of
jokes.
my, one of my jazz jokes. He was the king of those jokes like that.
Piper loves those jokes.
My dad
Yeah.
was calling-
She loves those jokes. I'm going to have to save that one for sure. Well, we're in the final minute. No, not yet.
You got a few more. You got a few more.
Travis can't get the timing down on the show. We've had an extra 10 minutes for a while, and now we're down 5.
Just preparing us to land the plane. Ready, everybody in the
Speaking of
cabin.
planes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whoa.
Let's not talk about those planes.
Yeah, that's not a story for air.
Well, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Who do we have out there right now?
You got your mom.
Lewis, awesome.
Brett.
Yeah.
Brett's on the line. One of my friends from back home, Ryan Adams.
BP out there?
No, not yet.
Corey and Crystal from St. Louis. I used to work with them. Hi, guys.
Who's that?
Corey and Crystal, they worked at Mercy with me.
Oh,
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, Lewis, who joined there, he paddled in crossing solo, and he's doing a major paddle from it's either Miami or the Keys to across the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know how long it's going to take him. He obviously has to have support along the way, but I mean, talk about an epic paddle. I mean, we're gonna have to get him on the show prior to his departure for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a crossing. You can check it out on Instagram. It's a crossing for cancer. So he works a lot with cancer patients, and he wanted to do something big to help. So,
He's doing it by himself.
solo.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Actually, he was one of the first guys that I met when I got to Bimini because he was kind of hanging out with his crew up there, and he was telling me about it. And he's like, "Yeah, he's doing it as like world record stuff and everything." He was telling me like all the parameters that he had to do, and like, yeah, the boats can't be within a certain distance of me for the entire time unless it's like rest time, and it's a huge undertaking. And
Wow.
yeah, it's just awesome stuff. And then
A
we
lot
got
of rules there.
a lot of rules, and then he got to talking to me about some like CF stuff, and because he's involved with cancer and everything like that, and he actually has a lot of really awesome ideas, so I'm really excited to get to talk to him about it.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. Yeah, the whole world record setting thing is kind of a tedious process, and it takes you you can set your own world record, but if you want it to be branded with a specific company that officiates it, and they give you the seal of approval, like you did this, as in registering it with our world record. We should just start Epic Love World Records.
We really should. I said that to Liz about her stand-up paddle. Like, she needs to be in a book.
Yeah.
We need to get,
We'll make the Epic
whether or not
Love
we
record.
create it or whatever,
What's
we need
that?
to get her in there.
The Epic Love Coffee Book?
Yeah. How many
Epic
dad
Love.
jokes can you tell in a row
Oh,
for 3
Oh, yeah,
days
bunch of-
straight?
Yeah.
Just start rattling them off.
That's
Let's
a
go.
whole other book.
One per every 5 seconds, nonstop for 3 days straight. This is no support boats, nothing. Kids.
Piper told me a dad joke the other day.
What was
She
it?
said, what do you call an Italian perpetrator? An impasta. I know, I like that one too. I
Oh,
totally
man,
tried to tell
she's
my
got
husband
so
too, and I
many.
messed it up. And he's like, I don't think you told that right. I was like, you're right. I always mess it up.
Impasta. I like it. Yeah.
Keep that in your bank, Dad.
Yeah.
In your bank.
So what do you guys think about this book challenge idea?
I love it.
I love it. Can I do Audible books? I drive a lot, and I like
Sure.
to listen. I listen better than reading.
So talk about, what do you want to do again a little bit?
I want to do like a book a month,
Okay.
and then we can talk about, we can all share in the book experience together.
Like a book club.
Yeah, like a book
The
club.
Travis Book Club.
No, that,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
like
just,
the Oprah Book Club.
yeah, and I just I think it would be cool to, we share in it, and then but invite in some of the authors, to talk about their books, their upcoming book releases.
What kind of books?
Any kind of books.
Anything.
Anything that's sharing inspiring stories of love through action. We're sticking with the theme here.
It's a broad
We're not
topic.
deviating.
Yeah.
It's a broad topic. I mean, you can do anything with it.
Covers
I love
a lot.
it. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So I
Can we
like
get Dr. Seuss in here?
Yes.
it's right up my alley.
Green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I really love that idea, Travis. I think we should move forward
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
because
It's cool.
let's give people something else besides social media, of course, that they can relate to with us. Just to know that we're reading the same book that they're reading, and then we can have people call in, talk about it, whatever.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that opens up doors. I like it.
Okay. Nice. All right. Well, we'll get that fired up. And so the call to action this week for the Epic Love Letter for next week, maybe it should be to share a magical moment.
Will you get the email address where people can send it to?
It's epiclove@pipersangels.org.
Okay.
So you can send it
Send
there.
them in, guys.
So please, if you have something in your heart that calls to you and you want to share it with us, please send it our way. So an epic love moment, a magical moment in time and space. Yeah, let's do it.
Hopefully, we'll have Lawrence by next week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So Lawrence,
she gave us the build up, man.
That'll kick
Yeah.
it off, right?
That'd be
I
great.
was like,
I could guess.
I thought she was gonna crack. I thought she was gonna
Yeah.
tell us there
No,
first.
she wasn't gonna.
No, she's solid as a rock.
I knew she wasn't.
She was.
Yeah. So.
All right, next week, guys.
Yeah, well, good stuff. Well, thank you to all the viewers, listeners this week. Time flies every week. It's amazing
I know.
how quickly it goes by. And we're on our what episode?
15.
15th episode.
15.
So stay tuned because when we're on our 150th episode, it's going to be wild times here at Epic Love Studios.
While learning me?
Yeah.
Wow.
So thank you to
I don't know if I
Piper's
can handle
Angels
that.
Foundation. Check out pipersangels.org on Facebook and online. And thank you again for tuning in and sharing your love with us because we want to share our love with you.
Thank you.
Lauren's awesome.
Still live?
Yeah, she.
We love you.
She is.
Whoa.
She came out for the launch, and she was nervous, but she was all dressed up. I forgot about this. She had on long sleeves and all that. And she comes out, and she's nervous about the launch because she's going first. Then she has all this stuff on, and she's standing there, and she's like, God, I'm hot.
Yeah, I shed like
Somebody-
7.
somebody
I
told
took
me-
off my layers.
It might be cool out there. And she's so cool.
The blood and
And then all of a
adrenaline
sudden,
pumping through you.
I
You're not
see-
cold at
I see-
It's
all.
probably 9 degrees too. As well.
I
Yeah,
see
it
her-
was still super hot.
I see her 15 minutes later, and she's got like, just her swim top and that,
Mm.
I said to her,
It can get cold out there if you're
Yeah.
falling in the water a lot and
Yeah.
losing body heat.
You can get hypothermic really quick in the ocean. It happened to me the first year. I was shivering like I was in freezing cold.
Really?
Yeah, in August.
Because you're so